Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Casting all the way from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya, and elsewhere in London, and the viewers also elsewhere in sub-Saharan Africa, all the countries south of Sahara. We are with you this afternoon broadcasting this special program of Cameroon, of southern Cameroon, the crisis, the human rights records of the Cameroonian government against the people of southern Cameroon in a place called Ambazonia. Viewers, we have joined hands with the Southern Cameroon Broadcasting Television Station, and this is streaming to over millions and millions of Africans, wherever you are in your workplace, in West Africa, South Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, the Horn of Africa, the Cape of Africa. Just tune in and see us wherever we are. We are just talking human rights records of President Biya. As you are aware, our television for the last 1 year has been on it. We have not feared. We have not been cowed down. We have not deserted the people of southern Cameroon. We have always said, if a resolution was made in 1961, taken to the United Nations General Assembly, and it was agreed that this country, Ambazonia, be created, southwestern Cameroon, southwestern Cameroonian country, where human rights have been abused. There are no schools, no water, no medicine, no courts, no internet, no infrastructure. President Paul Biya, who has been in power for 42 years, has continued to molest specifically the people of southern Cameroon because they speak English. A language that is supposed to be a communicator for humanity has turned into a factor for molestation of the same people that President Biya saw as the constitution to safeguard the integrity of the people of Cameroon. How did we get here? What began as a simple request for English to be used in courtrooms and the public schools of the country by Anglophone regions, which was rejected by Biya's henchmen in Yaoundé, turned up to a crisis that we see today, where human rights, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of southern Cameroonians have been butchered, tortured, maimed, killed, raped by the regime in Yaoundé. One person asks, why are languages in Africa becoming so difficult for people to understand that the language is communication? Why is the language, tribe, religion becoming so divisive in southern Cameroon? Why? Why has the Cameroonian government decided to use the language as a criteria to dismember its own people, to kill his own people, to displace so many people. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are refugees in Nigeria, where again Buhari also tortures them. So we don't know why there is a design by the French external intelligence systems to dismember countries in Africa in that way. We shall come and see. President Biya came to power in 1982. Most of the people were not born by then. Some of us were born. Since then, he has been re-elected in votes condemned by international observers, local observers, but accepted by the French hegemony that rules Cameroon. With Paul Biya not seen in public in the last few days, even for his birthday, which he usually bashes people and gives people the money, the presents that has been looted, organized by the French mercenaries that help him to retain power in Yaoundé. Speculations are beginning to be ripe that there is certainly something that will move. But the people of Ambazonia themselves, those who are suffering on the ground, those who are being killed, maimed, tortured, imprisoned, political leaders have been imprisoned without a trial. Those who have tried to bring in democratically with liberal society systems to put out their views have been cut to size. Viewers in Sub-Saharan Africa, wherever you are, you are going to be enjoying this every day, every time. Now that we are linked to a wider scope of satellite, where all of us will be seen, will contribute towards the struggle against dictatorship of President Paul Biya. President Paul Biya has ruled Cameroon for 42 years. 42 years, this country has been under one dictatorship. A dictatorship that has gone further to mutilate the people of Cameroon in two parts, in two English and French-speaking nations. The Cameroon that every Africa knew, the one that played football or represented Africa, has become the Cameroon a butcher house where Paul Biya butchers a certain section of his people. We have no reservations, no good words for people who do things of this, who violate basic human rights that you can see. Basic human rights. The human rights of the people of southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, have been trampled on. Youths have been killed. The elderly have been killed. The women have been raped. The children have been slaughtered. The army goes in to beat, to kill, to maim, to burn, using grass-thatched, using earth-scorched policy of Fenonifanzi. Fenonifanzi said, for you to turn the people against the government, you go and kill them and use violence, and it is only violence, and through violence, and only through that violence that you can achieve power. Most of you who have read Fenonifanzi, The Wretched Earth, or The Wretched of Earth, whatever it is, will agree with me that what is happening in Cameroon is not picking an international eye. Why? Why? Why is the AU? Why is the UN? Why is the International Criminal Court, which boasts around Africa, which goes to detain, to dismember African countries through warrants of arrest? Why hasn't the International Criminal Court sent a warrant of arrest for Mr. Biya? If that is what it is, Why hasn't the International Criminal Court specifically looked for the commanders who are torturing the people of Cameroon, of southern Cameroon? I've been asking these questions, and I want answers now. I've been looking for these solutions. I don't see the solutions coming. The people of southern Cameroon continue to die, basically through hunger, basically through torture, basically through all forms of mistreatment. Some are kept, some are buried alive. While they are speaking, soil is being put on them so that they die out of suffocation. These human rights abuses cannot go unchallenged in any atmosphere of democracy, any simplest format of platform, like this Pan-African station that sends, we stand by the truth. We don't have the ethics of that, looking for what? We stand by the truth. And we speak by the truth. We still die by the truth. There is a human rights catastrophe of human rights abuses in southern Cameroon. And that must be changed. AU must come in now. The African Union must come in. United Nations must come in. But I want to tell Cameroonians, there is southern Cameroonians, there is one way. If you people yourselves were doing it, we are now doing it from a different angle. The East African angle. We are going to be standing by you. And our signals are in London. We have liberated Gambia. This is the station that liberated Gambia from Yagaya, the French mercenaries. And we want to tell you the truth. Because of the French mercenaries, you are suffering. The French hegemony on sub-Saharan Africa is creating upheavals in every country in sub-Saharan Africa. The search for minerals, the search for oil, the search for wealth, the search for other attributes that go hand in hand in state monopoly and capital monopoly have created the suffering that you see in southern Cameroon. Why has France, as a member of the United Nations Security Council, a permanent member, refused the issue of Cameroon to be discussed in the Security Council? It is from this point that I want to stand to challenge anybody who has better political sense than I have to come and tell me why a resolution of 1961 was not and has not since then moved from the stage of the United Nations General Assembly to the stage as concluded by international norms and treaties and international law that brings about the creation of new states through the United Nations channel. Why hasn't this resolution failed? Why has it failed to reach the Security Council for its action? Why? The answer is very simple. The answer is France. The biggest enemy of Africa today is France. France continues to be enemy number one. After killing Gaddafi, ordering for bombing of Libya, you all know what is happening in Libya today. You all know, you see what is going on in Libya today. You all know what is going on in Central African Republic today, where minerals are being airlifted to Paris and Dubai and other areas, while the suffering of the people of Central African Republic continues to be unabated. You all know what is happening in Somalia. We wouldn't even want to say, and we wouldn't even want, we want to tell the truth to the world that they have a hand in those institutions. What happened about Libya shows you the direction in which we are going. Why has UN kept quiet? Why has the AU kept quiet? Why has the Commonwealth kept quiet? English-speaking people are being killed. As we air this show, there are said to be over 40,000 Southern Cameroonian refugees in Nigeria. And the more continue to troop into that country. But they are not safe at all. The villages of secessionist leaders such as Ewele, Ekwaya, Oyumo Dok, and Ekona were targeted by the defense and security forces of President Biya, where thousands have been killed, maimed, detained, deported, depopulated, use every type of put into concentration camps where they are inhumanly being treated. The UN is watching over a genocide that takes place in the current 21st century in the presence of the glare of international law and the glare of internationalism that we all proud ourselves for. Where has this internationalism gone? Where has it been placed when it comes to Southern Cameroon? Where has it been placed? We all see the events of the French hand walking quietly through the waters of Africa, in Southern Africa and South Africa, for example. Two factions in ANC have been fighting for power. What do you see? One faction takes over power, the other one retreats carefully. But who has been backing these factions? The French. From the time of the African Union, when we lost, when the French brought in the AU chief, who apparently comes from Chad, and who Chadian troops have actually been used by Biya to support the maiming and the killing of Southern Cameroonians. The AU chairperson is not talking at all. He's not even making any statement to the effect. I was in the AU 3 weeks ago in Addis Ababa. I tried to speak to the first minister of Cameroon, who could not even stand to answer my questions about why Cameroon is not brought on the agenda of the AU charter, of the AU conference of this nature. It seems there is a silence, a deliberate silence, while people of Southern Cameroon are killed, maimed, destroyed, their houses, properties, women, children don't go to school, medicine is lacking in hospitals, infrastructure is not available, hunger is killing these people in the camps where they flee. We have even had a whole village of like a Kakwa area literally deleted from the official map of Cameroon after the military forces forced people to flee, leaving complete destruction behind. Why doesn't the federal government of Cameroon address the issues of Ambazonia instead of using force? Is there any hope for dialogue? These are the questions that I want to bring to my panel. Is there the need? Do we dialogue when there is already a resolution? The people of Ambazonia just say, we want to go. We have had enough. A few days, few weeks, few months ago in last year, political leaders of the Ambazonian people were kidnapped from Abuja and dispatched to the dungeons of death of President Biya. The right to free, to fair trials is not existing for English-speaking people. They don't receive treatment with the equal French speakers. Detainees from Southern Cameroon are denied interpretation during interrogation in the courts and in the detention centers. The United Nations Committee Against Torture, simply called CAT, has expressed great concerns. I have also, that's why I'm expressing great concerns about the Cameroonian situation. Freedom of expression, media as upheld by international journalistic norm, does not exist in Cameroon. In southern Cameroon, it is not there. There's nothing you can broadcast. That's why we are calling upon millions and millions of the people of the southern sub-Saharan region who are linked to this satellite system from Nairobi and London, that we shall be doing this until Mr. Biya listens to us. We have done it elsewhere. This television station is known for doing it in Gambia. The Gambians had no freedom, no talk. They had nowhere to voice their views. We did it. We stood by the people of Gambia, and we won the freedom. Our Pan-African zeal does not stop us from saying what we're supposed to be said. We shall say it. French foreign policy has destroyed Africa. Viewers, therefore, I want to come down to my panel. I want to introduce my panel to discuss further the challenges that the country, the people of southern Cameroon face against the brutality of President Paul Biya for 42 years. The obstacles that the people of southern Cameroon have. How do they attain this independence? How do we raise the campaign higher into the international community such that they can hear, and we call an international conference on Ambazonia on southern Cameroon. We want to call that conference. We want to look for the time when the UN, when the AU, when the EU, when the Commonwealth can come up for the conference on southern Cameroon. That is the angle I am bringing in. I am not a Cameroonian myself, but I'm a scholar of international politics and African politics in the Great Lakes region of Africa and the international relations of the world. I therefore feel I should stand for the people, the oppressed people, those who have no way to express themselves because of fear of repression back in their countries. We have lived through this, and we shall continue to fight it until we get the freedom of the people of Cameroon, southern Cameroon. Viewers, the questions therefore that beg answers. Is there any hope for any dialogue? Is there any hope for revisiting the 1961, 57 years ago, resolution in the General Assembly? Is there any hope with the recent visits of the United Kingdom and the UN and the US Congress ending up crying tears without dropping them so that God can help the people of southern Cameroon? Does it signal an end to a crisis where President Biya will be brought to accountability? How do we stop the French intervention in Africa, which is causing a lot of mayhem in all areas in Africa, countries in Africa, including Kenya, where we are, including South Africa, where you have seen, including Ethiopia, where you have seen the French hand of George Soros, a country that I thought was stable, ended up by the Prime Minister of Ethiopia just departing because the French pumped money through George Soros, and he found himself alone on the cabinet. Everybody was saying, let's talk to these people, let's do this. These are the new tactics of regime change that has brought Africa to where it is today, and it is funded, supplied, equipped by the French. Thank you very much, viewers. Let me now introduce my panel with me in the studio to discuss. These are two people who have been so patient, but so patient that while I deliver blow by blow, isn't it? I blow by blow to Biya. Biya cannot threaten everybody. We have seen Bokassa. We have seen Idi Amin. We have seen many people perish. We have seen dictators who betray us, those traitors. Where is Mobutu Sese Seko, the man who betrayed Patrice Lumumba and the Lady Lumumba to death. He's gone. Therefore, Mr. Beer, you're not one alone. And you don't think you'll stay there without talking to us. You better start talking to us. And if there's any Cameroonian embassy anywhere in sub-Saharan Africa watching this show, our numbers are clear, rolling at the bottom of this television station which you are seeing in your signals. Call us, and we shall take the phone. We shall answer you. Any questions you want to us to answer on the question of Southern Cameroon, anybody from Bia's side, Paul Bia's side, you are welcome to engage me, and I will answer you. I have studied in and outside of that country now, that I specialize on it until you talk to us, until you stop the human rights abuses that you go on meeting on your people on a daily basis. Viewers, my panel in the studio is Linda Aleda Jennifer, our senior political reporter and anchor, specializing in people's courts, which weighs Paul Biya versus the people of Ambazonia. Welcome, Linda Jennifer Aleda.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Next to him, to her, is a gentleman who's specialized in special projects of Punchtv Africa, investigative special projects, political projects. Mr. Samuel Tawish Olesesana, a senior also person in this television station. Thank you very much, Tawish. Let me begin with you. What can Africa do, and what can the world do now that these human rights have reached a proportion that we can't stop talking about it anymore? We can't keep quiet. We have to keep on talking until somebody picks up our message. What can Africa do now?
Well, Dr. The world, the African Union, that is the continent of Africa, has been too silent for far too long. I think it is time for action. It is time now to move in. It is time to tell President Paul Biya that he is not untouchable. Maybe he thinks because he's been given a lot of leeway. Maybe he has his godfathers from the French or from France, people who have interest in the large deposits of oil in the southern Cameroon, found specifically in the southern part of Cameroon. These people of southern Cameroon only but need freedom, and their freedom, nothing but freedom. They want a restoration of Ambazonia as their own republic. I think that is what these people are crying for. That is what they're asking the world to intervene. That is what they're asking the African Union and each and every other country in the African continent, that their only cry is freedom, nothing short of it. And I do not understand on what basis will President Paul Biya just remain adamant, remain silent, look like he's deaf, he doesn't want to listen to all the cries and the wailing of the people of southern Cameroon. So I think it is time that we need to move in and have action, more so on the African Union. What is it that is doing to ensure that we see an end to all this arson, to all this butchery and killing and massacre of innocent civilians who are only but pursuing that cause which is rightfully theirs? So I think that is the way forward. Equally, I think what we need to do is to remind the people of southern Cameroon to remain united. You see, this is not just a simple kind of fight. It is not a simple war. It is something that calls for kind of patience and restlessness to ensure that they defeat President Paul Biya and his dictatorship and ensure that they restore their freedom and restore their independence, the country called Ambazonia. So there's nothing simple, there's nothing as simple as remaining united as a people of southern Cameroon and ensuring that the target, the enemy, is Paul Biya and his administration, and ensuring that they remain true to the spirit of fighting for their independence. I think that is what we need to remind the people of southern Cameroon. And Dr. Masanga, like you have said, we will continue to push for the African Union to see into it that they actually look into the crisis in southern Cameroon and allow these people actually to restore their independence to be restored, because that is what they simply want. Now, what President Paul Biya is doing is simply going there and silencing these people by power of the gun, ensuring that he kills them, he massacres them, he actually displaces them, ensures that they do not have the basic of needs of any kind of necessities that these people will want. as we speak and up to today, schools are still remain shut. There are no medicines in hospitals. I mean, these people cannot really move freely in their own country. It is very, very unfortunate. And their prayer is only one. Much as there are calls for dialogue, there are calls for negotiations, but Ambazonia has to be restored first as an independent country before any other thing that can come up.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you very much, Tawish. There is nothing short of going back to 1961. They were given independence. What happened to this independence is France has sat on these documents. Nigeria, that was supposed to file these documents as a Security Council matter, has never done it so. But we know why Buhari cannot do so, because Buhari also equally has a problem across in Biafra, across Cameroon, over the border. There is a Biafran something happening. And that is one of the other topics that we are going to come on now that we are linked to the whole of that region, sub-Saharan region. Let me ask one thing. With the recent visit of UK and the United Nations and the USA, United States Congress, men who went there and saw the bad conditions of human rights abuses being meted on the people of Ambazonia, do you think there is an action being prepared in a nearby future?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. And I think that is a question that we've been asking ourselves so much, because when these people are alive to this fact, initially, you know, the people of Ambazonia were just crying out there and thinking that maybe the world has given them a deaf ear, and thinking that maybe the world is not alive to the atrocities that are being committed towards them. But then, of course, the fact that the UK, the UN, the US have been able to tour Biafra, sorry, not Biafra, have been able to actually come to Cameroon, then it's, you know, somehow it kind of raises some, you know, sense of hope. Though we disagree with that, because we listen into what these people have brought into the land of Cameroon. You know, this is nothing that you are supposed to go and sit down and discuss about, especially when all these efforts to discuss and dialogue have hit the rock. So I think we all looked at it as a sign of hope for the people of Ambazonia, because you look at the colonizing bit of it, and you know very well that the French have taken ground. So, you know, you talk about the UK, you talk about the US, and you talk about English. You talk about, you know, the Anglo bit of it. So when you see that the Franco bit of it and the French have come in to infiltrate on the rights even more, then it tells you that maybe there is a sigh of hope in the event that there is someone who speaks your tongue is going to come in and probably is going to try and address some of the key things. But what have they done? Like you were saying yesterday, sometimes they go and they get a handshake from Bia, you know, with gold, with all these good things from Africa, and they go out there and they fail to tell their stories out there. So I think it is quite sad that much as maybe they have come in and they are superpowers and we expect them to address these issues, they are addressing them in a very shallow manner. There's still so much that needs to be known for them. They need to be alive on key nitty-gritty details, important details that actually, and the atrocities that are being committed down on ground. Because when you meet President Biya, you know, you just look at the outer bit, yet you've not gone inside to get to understand, really, is this what is happening in southern Cameroon? While these people of southern Cameroon are telling these stories, it does not really make sense, especially when you're looking at the president and they, you know, they seem to be very much comfortable. And this is a turmoil that is happening in their very own country. So I think, like the people of southern Cameroon have come to say, they went ahead actually to you know, to arrest one of the leaders, you know, the key leaders who the people of southern Cameroon were looking up to, that is Julius Ayuk. But then, of course, they have brought aboard another leader, you know, who is a leader, or maybe the president of the interim government of Ambazonia, that is Sako Ikome. And he's come aboard with great ways of trying to address the southern Cameroon, the Ambazonians issue. So we look to it and we look at this change as a way of something that, you know, they are going to unify the unity aspect of it, to ensure that they fight a common battle, to ensure that they are all set, you know, they all set their eyes towards the prize. Because amid all this, there's so much fear. Amid all this, there are people who feel like maybe it's not important to actually fight for this, because they're losing their family members, they're losing their people. So they tend to feel like, you know, it's pointless actually to to go ahead and fight. But in the event that they continue to be a unified factor, they are likely actually to win this battle. I am of the view that it is important that the regional bodies step in to talk, the African Union steps in to talk, the United Nations steps in to talk, the UK and all this. It is important that they talk. But what's important even more is the unity of the people of Ambazonia.
Thank you. Viewers, as you see now, we are linked to almost 40 countries, sub-Saharan Africa. Viewers who are watching, we want to thank you. There are so many of these, comments that I can, every minute they are pouring in, raining like rain. But there is one message that is coming out. Unite. The unity of purpose. To unite to defeat beer, there must be unity. Constant unity, coherent unity. In order to defeat the dictatorship and the genocidal operations of beer. The country, the people in the diaspora. I have lived in the diaspora. I live in the diaspora. I've seen the politics of the diaspora. I know how it hurts for the diasporan people not to get fragmented because of the type of jobs that we do in the metros of London, in the metros of Paris, in other cities where we are in New York. But we must maintain a unity of purpose in order to send this message of human rights abuses in Ambazonia. We must table our people appointment who can deliver document to every conference in the world, wherever you are. We take a conference, a document, circulate it. Don't fear about reprisals, because reprisals are normal. Some of us have been there. I've done it. I've done it on Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe today, when you look at what Zimbabwe went through, when sanctions were put on Zimbabwe, I managed to get those sanctions out single-handedly. I went on. I never got ashamed of people shouting at me in a conference hall because I was saying Mugabe has protected his people by giving his people land. Yes, Mugabe overstayed. Yes, his own people cleaned the mess. His own generals. Today he's seated, is comfortable, but watching the new generals in the saddle. Don't fear. Arrange yourselves in this struggle. Unity of purpose is very, very important. Mr. Alu Afu said the Queen of Ambazonia as one. Now things have seemed to have shifted. Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Alu Afu, for all the contribution. And the viewers, wherever you are, this program will be airing at least 3 times in a week. And we shall be sending very powerful messages. We are now linked up with very serious international brothers and other satellite stations that will be broadcasting in sub-Saharan Africa. Over 45 countries are listening to us right now. And as you can see, so many messages have come. Invite friends to listen. You come and listen, many of you. Tune in. Go back after work. You can replay these steps. They will educate you on how to struggle for the freedom of the people of Ambazonia. There are so many, as I said, Kensha Tana Kaina. Yes, Elvis Tanyi. Thank you, Tiwad and Elena Bong. I'll read the names only. Akuka Gorilla. Yes, Amambo Cecilia Bia. Yes, thank you for your message. Mega Atang, thank you. Fula Ayamba, thank you very much. Ajay Thomas, thank you very much. Abadanda Intel, thank you very much. Clement Akor, thank you very much for your message. Enom Samuel, thank you. Emmanuel Anyi, thank you. Please keep on telling the world about the problem. Yes, and that is what I'm here for. Are you Jubilee? You are very correct. I am indeed. I've always been here for 1 year. I've been telling Bia, we shall bring you down if you are not careful, because you have a problem. You can't beat your own people and eat them. I think it's becoming a cannibal like Idi Amin. Yes, Doctor, tell us the world to help I have said it. Thank you very much. Beat it victory. Abbas Bay. Thank you. My God, messages are coming in. My. Like water. You can't there. It is pouring. Thank you, Linda. The beautiful queen of Ambazonia. Why? Thanks. Yes, Humble. Thank you, sir. You are the voice of the voiceless. Yes, Humble. Mr. Humble Simon, thank you. Jennifer DK, Linda is Ambazonian and she will be. Oh, yes, it looks like things are changing. English mentality is very different from the French monumental scandal. Why? Hey, this is very serious now. Kesha Kena, the master of the struggle is in your palms, Linda. You are awesome. Why? Today, what did you do to the people? Hey, Rosalind Clinton. Well, sir, thank you. Thank you, doctor. I'm also giving this. We must unite to reach, yes, you must unite. Thank you, Punchline. Thank you very much. Thank you also, Derek and other people. Thank you, Buddy Victory. Invite friends. Ay, these are too many. I mean, Buhari counting sticks. Release our president. Mr. Buhari, I want to pause here and ask Buhari, what happened to those leaders? Where did you take them, Mr. President Buhari? The Biafran issue is also tickling you. So as much as you try to hide, there will be no place to run. Thank you. And viewers, I want to give my panel. We have done our best. We are about to come to the end of the show, and not yet the end, but it continues on other satellite systems. We shall be releasing this 3 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the morning. The whole morning, 1 hour is on Cameroon. 3 days, and that's it. We are now linked. We are now linked. Mr. Beer, the fight is bigger. Hey, if you can defeat media and more so when I have come in from East African point of view, yeah, we shall see. How can a country be going to France to beg for its own budget? What type of life is this? Give me one word. Parting shot.
Right, I know we all say that it's a long-standing grievance, of course, of the people, the two provinces of English-speaking Cameroonians, and we sure hope that, of course, their grievances are going to be met. Remember, their key issue here is to actually see to it that they are recognized as a state. The Ambazonia is actually recognized as a state, and I think it's a step towards the right direction as they soldier on, as they fight together, as they unify, and ensure that, they get to win this fight that they've been fighting for a long time. Remember, the voice of the people is key. In every other aspect of struggle, the voice of the people outshines every other voice that is there. Bia is one man, of course, coupled with French and all these other people who are helping in seeing that these atrocities are committed to the people of Southern Cameroon. But one thing is for sure, when the voice of the people, becomes louder and louder, eventually the rest of the world will have no choice but to heed to the cry of these people. And I think they are justified to go ahead and cry. The atrocities continue even worse. We just hope that the world would heed to these voices and, award the people of Ambazonia what is rightfully theirs. Because then again, this is not a struggle for something that you just want to get from the blues. It is something that is rightfully yours. So certainly the struggle is justified and it is worth. So agitation, keep agitating, yes.
Is justified and continue struggling. We shall also continue helping to make sure that we struggle together and we make sure that there is liberation and a final destiny for the people of Southern Cameroon. Tawish, your last comment.
Well, thank you, Dr. Hori. I just posed the question, is there any justification whatsoever why the people of Ambazonia should continue to suffer, should be massacred, should be killed, just because they have this potential, just because there are oil deposits in their region? Is there really any reason, just because they are asking for their freedom, they are asking for a restoration of Ambazonia? There is no reason completely. And I think we only but need to continue pushing for the people of Southern Cameroon. And specifically at this particular time, what we are aware is much as the French is ensuring that they have held President Paul Biya hostage, and he will continue to do all these kind of massacres and killing against the people of southern Cameroon, if they're not very careful, the same French, once they notice that the people of southern Cameroon have decided to come together, they have had this unity of purpose to fight President Paul Biya's regime and dictatorship, to fight for their own independence, they will as well make sure that they infiltrate the same southern Cameroonians so that they are not united, because they are well aware that once these people are united, they will not be defeated. So I think the only call we will need to persist continuously is that the people of Ambazonia should remain united. Very lastly, Dr. Masanga, there's never been a fight or any struggle for liberation that has ever been easy or smooth. It has always come with a bigger price. It has been very difficult. It's been thorny. It's been bumpy. But the only thing we can remind them is to remain focused and never lose determination